Hello everyone and welcome back to another Baldur's Gate 3 video. My name is Brian if you happen to be new to the channel, but for returning subscribers, thank you so much for being a part of the 65,000 of you who've hit that subscribe button here at Ginger Prime. It really does mean the world to me, and I think we have a goal now of 66,000 subscribers, so if you guys like my video game content and more, be sure to hit that subscribe button and check out the other videos that I have for you on the channel. Now, all of that being said, today's video we're going to be doing a deep dive into advanced tips and tricks when playing Baldur's Gate 3 on the controller. Several of you reached out with multiple types of questions, and I've been spending more time to try and get you the best answers possible. So thank you guys so much for being here, and let's go ahead and dive in because it's not my goal to waste your time. Now, a couple of things I want to point out. Several of you pointed out that for the PlayStation controller, one of the things I said is by default, if you use a PlayStation controller, it seems on PC to have the Xbox or the standard XABY button layout. However, if you disable your Steam input for this game, then you can actually see the PlayStation 5 or the PS5 controller button layout. So hopefully that's a help. Now, a couple other questions kind of fall into how do I examine enemies? How do I examine things that are perhaps on the ground? Well, I haven't been able to discover how to identify things on the ground, but you can see here I can press down on the L3 to disconnect from my character, and then all of a sudden I can fly around the map and the world and see everything that's going on. If you actually pull back on the right stick quite a bit, you can actually go into tactical mode, which is going to give you kind of that top-down look at what's going on. But if I pick an enemy here, I can go ahead and actually press X, and that's going to bring up my menu, and I can say examine, and that is how you can use the controller to examine various different enemies. So hopefully that is a huge help for you. Now, another question comes from Cato9, says, how do I reorder my party with the controller? I want to put the cleric in the back. Thanks. So great question. Let's go ahead and show you how to do it because it's not as intuitive if I just use the keyboard and mouse. It's a little bit easier, so you kind of have to dig into this. First and foremost, you want to press the left trigger to bring up your party menu, and then you want to pick on the character you want to move. You want to press Y to split them, and then that's going to drop them at the bottom. But now they're operating kind of on their own party. So this is the case you want to actually group them back up by pressing X, pressing up, and now joining them back to the party, and you can see now that my cleric is in the back of the group, and that's how you can do all your reordering of these characters. It's not as intuitive as keyboard and mouse in this case, but it is doable, so hopefully that is a help. Now, as I play the game, one of the things is very apparent. I want to highlight this for you because there's some really cool settings. If you touch the keyboard and mouse at all, it's going to say, hey, I'm in my keyboard and mouse mode, and you can see that pop up. If you're a PC player who wants to play in the controller, this can be very handy because you can switch between the two. But let's say you don't want that option whatsoever. You can hit start, you can go into options, you can go over into interface. Now here's where it's fun. You want to press left on the D-pad so you stick with controller only. If you go right, it's going to first go into keyboard and mouse, and you're going to see the keyboard and mouse input, which you're going to need to change back to controller. If you have it in controller only input, using the keyboard and mouse or anything doesn't automatically go ahead and put you back into the game. Now, CGS, with the controller, I can't figure out how to switch from melee weapons to ranged weapons when I'm out of combat. And so when you look at your combat, you're going to look at your main hand attack and your ranged attack. If you select this, it's going to automatically put you in that ranged combat mode, and it will keep you in that mode. It is imperative that when it comes down to your attacks, you go ahead and just do this. So whether you're in combat or out of combat, you can go ahead and select these options and set these values, and the system's going to remember it, but you're going to have to do so. Now, another question comes from the biggest problem is when the action wheel opens up and you first hit RB or LB for the changes. Something of the leftmost, sometimes it's right in the middle. I want to always have the controller open up first so I can put the most commonly used commands where I reduce the button presses. Does anybody know how to do this? Now, first and foremost, I have not found anything like this myself. We do have the ability to customize these radio windows. You can obviously put various different actions that you want here by just setting the slots or swapping the slots themselves, so you can play around with that. However, all of that being said is that, yeah, I too find that sometimes it does open up in the mid, or sometimes more or less over here on the right hand side. This is feedback I think that we should want to give the devs so that they can at least set it to maybe where sticky menus or memorization menus. I played around in the options themselves with the controller and different interface options, and I haven't personally found anything that actually makes this consistent. So just kind of see what you want to do. Now, when it comes down to the interface, you can see automatically add arrows, consumables, etc. Feel free to turn these on and off, which is going to make those button presses way more doable. Now, let's get back into it. Inventory management is key. Pressing down on the right trigger, bringing up this menu, you can go into your character sheet, and you can see that this character I've got has got a lot of items. Transferring items in and out of battle, this works really well. Let's say you want to gather a range of items themselves. You can actually press the right trigger to select all of these various different items. Then you can press X to either send them to your camp. This is going to be a big help for you, especially as you gather in materials, or you can just send them to who you want to have them. Let's say if I want to task that over to Asterion, then he now has those, and it's very easy to manage your inventory, again, with that multi-select with the right trigger. So on this note, also when it comes down to equipment, this also applies that it will show you all equipment across all characters. So this isn't based off of what is in your inventory for the character that you're looking at. This is based off of all things, so you can actually have items and other things that you can then equip easily on any character. So you don't have to do so much inventory management when it comes to your gear. Another quick tip is that if you need a light source, you have a torch equipped, you can press and hold the up button on the D-pad. This will bring out your torch, making it easier for things to see. You can press and hold that as well to put that back up. In the last video, if you guys didn't see it, pressing and holding down will put you into this hiding mode, which will allow you to also, in the way I've got it set up, see where the visibility of what might be detectable in this case, so I can have and kind of plan my attacks accordingly. So Poor Zach, who says, how do I move objects with the controller? One of the things that you can do is hold down the A button, and it's going to do a wide scan. This is going to give you the ability to have different, options that are selected, and you still have that beautiful X option, so you can easily grab and move various things like throw or move, for example. So if I want to go ahead and select move, then it's going to give me the ability to go ahead and set where I want to go ahead and move it to. So remember, holding down A, especially when you're in a targeting area where there's a lot of items, it might not be easy to kind of like run up and individually pick up on anything. The other thing you can do is press left and right on the D-pad, which will allow you to go ahead and navigate and basically tab target between a couple of different items, so you can kind of play around with how that all works for you. Now, at this time, this is essentially where I think I'm going to leave you guys in this video. This hopefully will help improve your gameplay with the controller on Baldur's Gate 3. But if you have additional comments, feel free to sound off in the comments below. I'm going to either try to answer them directly in the comments, or if there seems to be a theme about a common set of questions that keep getting asked, I'll see if I can't do follow-up videos here on the channel for you guys. So like, sub, share, and all that wonderful stuff. And I hope you're enjoying Baldur's Gate 3 as much as I am. Hopefully I will see you guys in the next video, but until then, take care.